Welcome into the Warchant Wrap, where Florida State falls on Friday night for the first time in school history to the Duke Blue Devils, 23-16 Friday night. Corey was up there in Durham, North Carolina. I fortunately was not. I stayed back home, and I feel pretty good about it.
Fortunately or unfortunately?
Fortunately, I feel pretty good about that decision.
Yeah.
You were on the scene, so we're going to get the feel of it, the vibe of it from you. But Florida State turns the ball over 4 times, including 3 in 3 plays in the first half to really kind of doom their chances. And they outgained Duke by 100 yards. They actually ran the ball a little bit. Defense played pretty well, but they turned the ball over so many times, had 6 sacks, and just a fitting loss for a season of a bunch of losses. FSU falls to 1-6 on the season. Duke improves to 6-1. And Corey, what'd you make of it? What was the vibe out there in Durham?
Aslan, I know you're producing this. I'll go ahead and do it.
The Warchant
vitamin energy, Ira?
Vitamin energy, Corey.
Yep. We need some mood, need some booster, immunity. Like I need it all because this is I shouldn't say this is rock bottom because it's not. We're already. I don't think they leveled any. They took any more feet off of what rock bottom is. I think they're still right where they were. But vitamin energy, you never feel like you're at rock bottom, Ira. That's the thing, right? You never. That energy. It's 7 hours. It lasts. You can get it at 10,000 locations in this country. They are such a much better product than Florida State football is.
That's fair.
That's what I'm going to tell you folks, the viewers. Vitamin energy is they are not the Florida State football of vitamin energy or of energy drinks. They are so much better than that.
What would the score be if Vitamin Energy played Florida State football this season?
I think 16-13. Are you talking about the employees at Vitamin Energy? I think the Noles would beat them.
Yeah, the promo code is Warchant BOGO. You can buy one, get one free, and we'll talk about them again at the end. But Corey, tell us about the game. You also got to talk to Mike Norvell and a few players after the game. Give us the vibe. Give us the feel for those of us that weren't in Durham for this historic night.
Yeah, pretty upbeat, pretty relaxed, feeling pretty good about things.
Yeah.
No, Norvell was typically devastated. It's the Norvell look we've seen too many times since December. But it was that look. I think it was his first or second sentence after congratulating Duke, which he always does, is he brings up the turnovers, which are the difference in the game. This is one of the few losses this year where I really thought Florida State was like they were unlucky to lose. You know what I mean? Because they lost the turnover battle 4-0.
Right.
One of the turnovers was an interception return for a touchdown. Like you said, they outgained them by 100 yards. The special teams were good, really good. The defense was the best it's been all season. And I thought the offense ran the ball better than it has all season. But when you give a team 17 points, which is what they did, I shouldn't say they were unlucky to lose. You deserved all those turnovers. What I should say is I thought they were the better team. I thought they were the better team. They just lost the game, which a loss is a loss. Nobody cares. But it didn't feel like the SMU game or the name Boston College. I felt like they actually, in a lot of stretches, especially on defense, actually played pretty well. They actually did play well on defense. Well, bad offense they were facing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And I think that, I think if you look at when we did the Warchant report, you, Aslan, and I talked. One of us, I can't remember who it was. One of us said that the key to the game was not self-destructing on offense. Yeah. And I just feel like, I don't know if Mike Norvell – I think Mike Norvell is coaching the team he wishes he had instead of the team he does have. The throw where Brock Glenn throws that pick, I mean, I don't know why would you think he can make that throw? And Duke's offense is no good. They're not good. They've not been good all season. You do have a good defense. It played pretty well tonight. You can have a good defense. You're going to have an edge there. The only thing you can't do in this game is turn the ball over. And you turn it over 3 straight times. The fumble, Brock Glenn fumbles, you can't, whatever, it's a good hit on the ball. Can't be mad at anybody for that. But right after that, you drop him back to throw again. I just don't get the belief that it didn't cost him later in the game, but we were texting at the time, they're in field goal range and he's, just dropping back Luke Krummenhoek. And, the only thing you can't have there is sacks. And it's just like, I don't know, man. He's not coaching the team. You can't tell me that this was a smart approach for this game against that defense with your offense when you knew that they couldn't score the ball either.
Well, yeah, I think the third interception was the third straight turnover. By the way, shout out to Brock. That has to be a Florida State record for a quarterback to have for any player to have 3 turnovers on 3 straight plays. That has to be a Florida State record. So congrats for him making history, and congrats to the Noles for losing to Duke. Streaks don't last forever, Ira. That's what makes them. That's what makes us all appreciate streaks.
We're learning that quickly.
The fumble is the fumble. Like you would like him not to fumble. I don't know why the lights keep flipping on and off here. They're not really flipping on. I don't know why it keeps looking like that. I apologize, everyone. But the fumble's the fumble. It's a bad throw. It's 3rd and long. Do they just not have some safe plays, like some rollout boots, some nakeds they can run with their quarterbacks? To me, my biggest complaint in the game, you can't foresee that your starting quarterback, is going to turn the ball over like that. 2 horrible interceptions. The second one might have been worse than the first one.
Yeah.
He just threw it right to him.
Right
he had
to the
2 guys that were open, and he picked the guy in the middle, which was wearing blue.
And after the game, Norvell said he just didn't see the linebacker. I'm like, well, if it didn't hit the linebacker in the chest, I think it would have hit the ground. Because I don't think it wasn't like there was a receiver right behind him.
He literally chose and again, maybe somebody ran a wrong route, or we don't know, but that was an awful interception. But I want to get to the way Brock responded in the second half, because I did think he looked like a different kid in the second half. Clearly didn't look like Joe Montana, but he didn't look like the dude we saw in the first half. But I don't understand what they were doing with Luke Kromenhoek. It was obvious from the jump. He was going to be worried about getting hit. He was not going to let it rip.
Well, in his defense, he's seen this offensive line for 7 games.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's I would be a little worried back there too.
So then, natural to worry about it, and natural for him to respond. It's his first game ever, and he's playing against a good defense. And these teams already in a 14-3 hole or whatever it was. So it's natural to respond the way Luke did in that moment, and to maybe, see ghost, or not even see ghost, just like feel pressure and not let it rip, not trust what he's seeing more than anything. There had to be people open that he missed.
And the one time he does, he drops a dime into Kentron's hand in the end zone, and it's dropped.
That's the part for that. That's what bad teams do, right? But you can't formulate any sort of passing plays or plays on the perimeter with Luke Kromenhoek's not a bad athlete.
No,
you can't get him outside the pocket. Every play is Luke, just sit back there, scan the field, and then curl into the fetal position as 2 guys hit you after 4 seconds. Like, can't they devise anything? And you brought up the what he did with Luke. He just didn't handle him well at the end of the second quarter. But it can't be that hard to get quarterbacks to avoid to just get them out on the perimeter on 1st or 2nd down. They take so many killer sacks on 1st and 2nd down. They can't respond.
Obviously that stretch for Brock was awful. And you mentioned his response. He did come back and play much better when they brought him back in. And I was glad they did bring him back in, because Luke clearly was.
I was done with Luke. And I don't mean I'm done with Luke, like go somewhere else, kid. I mean, in that moment, it was unsustainable tonight. It was the same thing over and over again. So
Brock comes back in and he does move the ball. And then of course, you get a fumble down at the 31-yard line on that last drive. The thing that, to me, the most frustrating thing to me, well, I don't see frustrating because it's just par for the course now with this team, is every time you had a chance to kind of do something in this game, man, it's the seniors that kill you. The seniors on this team just kill you. That you got veteran defensive linemen lining up with juniors and seniors, lining up off sides. You've got Maury Smith still another false start. You've got Kentron dropping a wide open pass. Malik Benson dropping a wide open pass. I just don't play those guys anymore, man. Like, what's the point of playing we've been talking about the youth movement, and we're seeing some signs of the youth movement, but man, I just play the younger guys. What is the point of playing those older guys anymore? Because honestly, it feels like it's whether it's a mental block, whether it's I don't know. I can't explain it, but they are not going to win you football games. They're not even going to make positive plays.
Yeah, I would say Ja'Kai made a couple big.
Ja'Kai, all right. Ja'Kai can stay.
Ja'Kai you can depend on.
Ja'Kai can stay.
Yeah, Ja'Kai's the one. Yeah, man, it's just like in what kills you is that you could tell early on that Brock wasn't the Brock we saw against Clemson, and there is something to now the expectations have been raised. When he played against Clemson, nobody was expecting anything from him.
No.
And then he played pretty well. So then the expectations are raised. You get a week off. You get 13 days to think about it. And he came out and looked much more rattled and sped up than he did at any time against Clemson. And it was obvious. Like bad throws, whipping him at the feet, whipping him too fast. And then he finally makes a good throw. A really nice throw on a third down. It was like 3rd and 15. It might have ended up being a first down. It would have been close. And Malik Benson drops it. Yeah. Luke Kromenhoek looks like he does not want to throw the football at all. He is just going to try to avoid pressure and run around and maybe make some plays with his feet. He decides to let 2 throws rip down the field. You said Contron was wide open. No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't wide open. He wasn't wide open.
Perfect throw.
Right. Well, I meant yeah. It wasn't he didn't have to fight to catch it.
It's there. And he makes a really nice move to kind of get the DB off him a little bit to give him. And then, of course, what does it matter? And then Hakeem too. And it's like, that's the question I asked Norvell after the game was like, watch that on after you're done watching this, go ahead and watch Mike Norvell's press conference. But it doesn't just change the complexion of the game when you make those drops. It changes your quarterback's whole demeanor. Like it changes their whole confidence. Like, golly, I finally make a throw and you do that. It's like, what would it have done for Luke Kromenhoek's confidence if Portier makes that catch? It might have flipped the whole game around. It might have flipped his whole mindset around, but no, he didn't. And then it just Kromenhoek might have been filled with like, yeah, man, I got this. This is easy.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe he lets a couple other throws rip. But no, he's 2 for 5 for 12 yards or whatever it was. And then he starts running around and gets sacked. And in my opinion, kind of in the second half, it was the same thing over and over again. It almost was unplayable. You had to go back to Brock for a spark. And we should talk about that a little bit because I think, honestly, Ira, I think that's all that's left in this season. These 2 guys and who is going to be the guy. Obviously, I don't even know who you'd say was the better quarterback tonight. Brock had better moments, but
Luke threw for 19 yards, but he didn't turn it over.
Yes, right. So it's like right, but he got sacked 5 times or 4 times or whatever it was. Brock actually made some plays, some nice plays, some special plays, I thought, or at least on bordering on special. But but it's like, who's the guy that's going to play against Miami? I would guess Brock Glenn. Mm-hmm. But if he struggles at all, you give Kromenhoek some more chances, and you just go from there. But I think that's the rest of the season, Ira, is these 2 guys playing, splitting reps maybe if they have to. I think Brock's the guy, but you can't be confident of that. But that's all this season about is moving forward, is one of these guys going to be your quarterback next year. I've not fallen into the trap, Ira. They just lost to flipping Duke, and they did not score an offensive touchdown, which is incredible. Those words are coming out of my mouth. But I kind of like Brock more now than I did after the Clemson game because of the way he responded in the second half. I don't know why. I feel like maybe – remember when you said you wanted them to pull DJ for like a series or 2 just to see that other quarterbacks can struggle too? I think it might have freed Brock up to see, you know what, I might not be great. I might throw an interception right at a linebacker, but I'm the best chance for this team to win. And I think that could free him up a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. But I did like what I saw from him the last 3 drives, except for the sacks he took, which I don't know how much are on him or not, but I'd like him to not take the 9-yard sack on 1st and 10.
Yeah, it could be. And I just, of everybody to blame in all this, I don't blame the quarterbacks as much as I blame the coaching staff and, again, the veteran players because, I think Byers had some lookout blocks. And it's just like, man, you've got freshmen, you've got these young kids at quarterback. You guys have to help them out. The older guys have to help them out.
Actually, Ira, they don't have to, clearly.
No, you're right. They do not have to. They've proven that they don't have to.
Yeah, it would be nice if they did, but they don't have to help them.
And then defensively, we're not going to crush the defense. Overall, they played well against a bad offense. I'm not even going to qualify that. They did. They played pretty well against a bad offense. Of course, though, you cut it to 4 points again, and you give up a 60-something yard run. Like it's Phil Maffa again. I don't know why that has to happen, but I guess that's just. That's how this team's going to be. Sam Singleton, congratulations to another redshirt freshman, has the big kickoff return that kind of gets them back in the game. which is a huge lift. And I thought, we'll see how Cam Davis is. He got shook up late in the game. I don't know if you saw anything late in the game.
I know I saw he walked. So I thought it was going to be really bad when he was laying on the ground like he was. He did walk. He seemed to be walking okay. He wasn't being helped like this. He wasn't on crutches. I saw him walking to. Where the field house is for them.
Quarter
He's
mile
still walking there. It's in Raleigh. But I did see him walk. He wasn't being helped or
that's good.
In a wheelchair or anything.
That's good. But I thought, he had some really nice runs. He had some of the best runs we've seen from him. So that's a positive. Luane McCoy caught a punt or two, which was a positive in the air.
Yes.
So there were some more positives from some of these young guys. And again, man, I don't know where you're at. I know they're playing Miami this week, and that's going to be a huge challenge to even stay competitive in that game. Because the difference in this game was, I felt like this was a game. If you had a really conservative game plan and you just didn't give the game away on offense, I thought you had a good chance to win this game. These next couple of games are not that. Like this next game clearly is not that. So you're going to have to Brock's going to have to make big plays. You're going to have to get plays to win this game. And then now it could get even uglier. So it's going to be a tough week for them. But again, I just want to see more young guys. And your point is all you care about really the last 5 weeks is these quarterbacks and seeing what they've got. I don't want to – there's some older guys in this team that I think Florida State fans will be better off if they don't see them playing football much the rest of the way.
But you're not going to name names.
Well, I mean, I could. I've named a few. It's just, again, man, like I just think this team has been bad, but it's compounded when your oldest players make some of your biggest mistakes. And anyway, any other big takeaways from post-game interviews or anything like that as we wrap up here?
I really like Justin Cryer a lot. I wish people would go watch that interview just for him. He's just a really smart kid, and he really kind of has a nice perspective on football and this team and them getting better. And I asked him he was asked about, I don't think I did. Somebody asked him about the defense and how well they played. And he's like, yeah, we played pretty well. The numbers say that, but 0 takeaways. And it's like, yeah, man, you're right.
And 0 sacks.
Brock Glenn had as many takeaways on 3 straight plays, as many turnovers on 3 straight plays as this defense has created in 7 games. They have 3 on the season. Now, Shaheem did have a pick, but that was a good call. Who was it? Barker was called for holding.
They called for Barker on the replay. It was after the hold, so we couldn't see it.
Yes. So I saw somebody on Twitter posted it. Maybe Tom Lang actually posted it on Twitter. It shows him on the line of scrimmage grabbing. He gets run by and he grabs the kid's jersey as he's getting run by. So, yeah, what they showed did not do the ACC refs any justice, but that was a good call. And that's what this team is, man. So they have their first interception of the season, it seems like, after already cutting the lead to 4. And you're like, oh, they're right back in the game. They got some momentum.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's a hold. And the very next play is the 45-yard run. The very next play after they get the interception taken off the board. That's just what happens. In Ira, I know we got to go. It's late. This is not a good football team. We've already spent too much time about it. But Brock Glenn comes out in the second half when he gets put back in the game. I think his first 5 completions were for first downs. Like his first 6 pass attempts, 5 of them went for first downs. And then Cam Davis hits a run. They get inside the 20-yard line. 1st and 10. They're rolling. They're feeling good. They get a delay of game.
Yeah.
Like, keep going. You had a nice tempo going. Then all of a sudden you got to slow it real down. I can't fathom why once they get inside the 20, and it isn't often, but when they actually get a couple first downs and string them together, it's like it grinds to a halt.
And that was another moment where I was mad at Norvell because he takes the timeout before a punt because he doesn't want to lose the 5 yards on a punt. And it worked out okay, I guess. You got him down inside the 8-yard line.
What do you mean it worked out okay?
I mean, at least they put him down to the 8-yard line.
Timeout at the end of the game.
I agree. But once you've done that, you take the delay because he's running over. He sees that they're going to get the delay on that 1st and 10 at the 20 or wherever it was. Yeah. And he stops himself from calling the timeout because he knows he's already burned one timeout on the punt. So he doesn't want to call a second one. And it's like, there you have to call the timeout. Yes. This offense has no chance on 1st and 15. They have maybe a chance at 1st and 10.
And then the next play is obviously a loss or a sack or something, and that's a wrap. But yeah, that was That was a really, really dumb timeout. We don't have to get into it because there's a lot bigger problems.
Right.
But calling a timeout because you only have 10 men on the field in the second half of a game you trail when you know you're going to punt anyway.
And you've got the best punter in America.
But right, so you can back him up 5 yards. I bet he'll still do pretty well. Take the penalty or punt it with 10 guys on the field and tell them to pin them out and hit it out of bounds. You've got the best punter in America. You do not burn a timeout. The 5 yards is not even close to as important as a timeout might be. Now, it ended up, I guess, not mattering because they ran out of time anyway. But anyway,
my last question for you. Last question for you, because you're there, boots on the ground. You're there.
Great showing by Florida State fans, by the way. I would like to say that half the stadium was Florida State fans. Not happy, but literally half the stadium was Florida State fans.
They always do, man. They represent, especially in the Carolinas. What did you see? Anything? Did you see anything on the sidelines during the game, towards the end of the game? Any frustration? Any kind of things that we need to worry about this team and whether or not they're actually hanging together as they go into this Miami game?
I don't look at that stuff, Ira.
Okay. All right, cool.
I can tell you this. I saw some frustration leaving the press box, going down to the field house. There was some frustration there.
I can tell you,
we have to walk through a bunch of Duke fans to get there, and I might be throwing a few bows here and there to get there. But, yeah, and the walk was 1.5 miles, so there was some frustration there. But other than that, no, I think the team's kind of getting used to it, unfortunately.
All right, Corey, you're going to go write your column. We'll have more coverage coming at warchant.com, which I'm sure you guys can't wait to read as you're enjoying your Sunday NFL football. Florida State falls 23-16 to Duke. But also, before anything else, guys, go vitaminenergy.com. I screwed up at the beginning of this. I should have promoted them better. Aslan just told me to promote them, and I totally didn't do it. Vitaminenergy.com is the website. Warchant BOGO is the promo code. They have all kinds of vitamin energies. It's not just one vitamin energy. There's a whole line of them, right?
Yeah.
It's a whole line of them. It's
yes,
a whole line.
Course, man, everywhere. You can shake it and take it, as Aslan's telling you to do.
That's right. All right, for Corey and Aslan, drive carefully, Corey. We'll talk to you soon. Signing off from warchant.com. Stay connected as Florida State falls 23-16 to the Duke Blue Devils.